Thank you to all my channel members, including my fan appreciation level members and my contributor level members, for helping support the YouTube channel. Hello, and welcome to my channel. My name is Jonathan Cohn, and today I have a video in two parts. Part of it is a update for the channel, and the other part of it is a studio tour. So, for many of you who were asking for the studio tour, that's going to be in the second half of the video. So, if you want to skip ahead to where the camera starts going to do new angles, you can. But I wanted to include a bit of a update for the channel. I don't do this type of thing too often. But as some of you have learned, some of you have known, some of you have figured out, I have been in the process of moving for quite some time. My contract at my previous school ran out, and I got a job at a new school. I used to be in Georgia, now I'm in Tennessee. And so I have a job teaching high school history at a school here in Tennessee. It's going to be great. And I moved up here this summer so I could get to work and get ready for next year. So with that comes having to move out of my old apartment and move into a new one, all this craziness of moving. And let me tell you, there's been some craziness with the moving. But here's where it gets interesting. At the end of April, my lease at my old place ran out, and my new place I couldn't get till early June, and I just couldn't renew temporarily. It would have been crazy expensive. So I stayed at a friend's house for about a month and a half, and that's why when it looked like I had that weird half setup, not even a full setup, that's why that was like that. So when you're looking back through the videos history of the channel, that's why. But I just the week of June, first week of June, moved into the new apartment, and now I am able to have the full studio setup, and I'm working for the job. I'm starting my lesson plans. I'm going to be teaching some AP, some honors, a bunch of stuff like that, and so it's going to be good. It's a smaller room technically than the previous setup was, but my apartment itself is bigger for other stuff, so it works out in the end, and I think it's going to be great. So in just a moment, you're going to get to see the studio tour. So first I'm going to show you what the studio looks like. Normally, we have our two lights that we have set up here. We also have the camera stand. We have my table right here with the microphone and my computer. I put this on the table because it's a white table and it actually causes a big glare if I don't have a blanket over it. So this blanket is simply covering that. And then you have all of the bookshelves around it. I'm not going to show every book, but I will show you generally where everything is. And so I'm going to snap my fingers and the table is going to disappear. All right, so let's start over here on the right. Over on this shelf, we have at the top our Star Wars, The High Republic books. And if I add any more books to that shelf, it might fall off. But then we have below it, we have some Star Trek books. Start on the right. We start with the original series, Next Generation, Voyager, Deep Space Nine, and then we have the post-Nemesis books down here. And then at the bottom is, I couldn't fit the oversized trade paperbacks and hardcovers, so they had to go at the bottom. Then starting with Star Wars, we have a bunch of Star Wars Expanded Universe novels. I'm not going to stop and show every book, but you can generally see those are the mass markets. This was an old DVD bookshelf from my grandparents they gave me. And then we go over here and we can see the Canon hardcovers collection that I have. I've been collecting all the Canon hardcovers for the adults, middle grade, and young adults. And then there's some of the EU hardcovers that I couldn't fit. If you look at the top, you have the Star Wars EU books that I have to be read, and then the Star Trek Gateway series that I'm reading through for literary treks. On the top here, I have some Star Wars stuff. I have Baby Yoda. I have a pop figure of The Mandalorian. I have this Diet Coke from Galaxy's Edge, and Vi Marathi that I also got from Galaxy's Edge. Below it, let's see what's on these shelves. We got some John Grisham. Some John Grisham books here. We got more John Grisham books. We got some mysteries, some contemporary books, kind of a hodgepodge. But then we got our historical fiction, like Ken Follett books. And then we also have our giant oversized books, like Larry McMurtry and Sherlock Holmes. Next, we'll go over to this shelf, which is a science fiction shelf. These are the books I wanted to display for science fiction. We've got like Dave Wolverton, Timothy Zahn, some of my favorite authors. We've got Ben Bova. We've got some great hard science fiction on this shelf. More Timothy Zahn, Marissa Wolf. We got Charles Soule here. We've also got my Dune books on this shelf. We've also got my Kevin J. Anderson books and some other science fiction here. We've got David Weber and Larry Correia books here. We've got some mismatched classic sci-fi books here and some newer ones. Then we'll start down here at the bottom and look at our fantasy. We have a bunch of fantasy authors here. Bunch more fantasy here. Then we're getting to some of the favorites. We got The Wheel of Time, we've got the Game of Thrones series, and we've got Brandon Sanderson's Cosmere. We have some of my newer favorites like Rebecca Kwong and Stephen Arion. We've also got more of my favorite series, The Rune Lords, and more George Martin books. We have up here the classic, this has to wrap around because I cannot fit all of them on the shelf, and that is Terry Brooks's fantasy books, his Shannara series. At the top, I haven't filled out the top quite yet, but I've got the hardcovers of the Rune Lords. I'm missing the big hardcover for 5. I only have the other ones in full. And then I have the DVD extended editions of the Lord of the Rings movies. This is one of my favorite things in the collection. I love that I have this. And then Shami Stovall's leatherbound. That's the only leatherbound I own. Then up here, I can't display them yet, but I've got some oversized Art of books, some World books, Rise of the Dragons up there. Got all those up there. We also have fantasy over here. We got some classic Tor and Daw books here. We've got some of Michael Stackpole, one of my favorite authors. We've got Elizabeth Moon. We've got the Dresden Files here. We've got some more. I couldn't fit them all on, so they're kind of sideways, so I know that doesn't look great. We also here have the start of what will be my big self-pub, indie pub collection. Those are to-be-read books. More self-pub, indie pub books. And then on the left is some self-pub, indie pub, and on the right are some fantasy books that sadly could not be seen because it's hard to see those. Over here we have more science fiction books. Couldn't fit them all on the science fiction shelf, so some of them are here. Next we have our Bane shelves. We've got Bane books over here, Bane books over here, more Bane books. And that's going to be Bane books all the way down. All the way down. If you want to pause to look at any of them, you can. I haven't read most of these, but I've read a lot of them. And then this is the end of the Bane book collection. At the top here, we also have some thrillers and historical fiction that just didn't have shelves for. We have my current month's TBR. That's my June TBR. I'm not going to show you the July one. You'll have to find out that later. Then up here, we got some horror books by Delilah Dawson and Dan Wells and Tim Powers. We got some Stephen King books. We've got Chuck Wendig books and a few others. Then we have my manga shelf with some comics. And then we have, these are just here because I couldn't fit them anywhere else. These are tie-in books for Marvel and for Willow. These are not good. Don't read them. Then you have my tie-in fiction collection. It's not Star Wars or Star Trek. We've got some DC books here. We've got some D&D game-related books here. We've got Halo here, Gears of War. That's my tie-in fiction shelf. It was going to include the Chris Claremont books, but I couldn't fit them. Then we're going to go down here, which is some of my miscellaneous, because I couldn't fit them all everywhere, books. And so we've got, just miscellaneous classics, thrillers, stuff like that. Didn't have a shelf for them. And then the bottom shelf is empty. And you might be like, why is this bottom shelf empty? That is for book hauls. That is for new releases. So that is what the studio setup looks like almost 360 degrees, almost, I can't put stuff there, but almost 360 degrees of books. So let me know what books on the shelves are your favorite and what you want to see me do with the shelves.